Hey guys, we've got this awesome handle from CravingShaving, and it's got a Stirling badger knot in it. It's a bulb shaped knot, and it's the finest badger from Stirling. And it is not the one that's 50 something dollars on their site. I think they call that the DPG knot or something like that. It's the one that's more like 30, but I bought it as a seconds I happened to find it on a sale, and so I got it for more like 20 bucks. Holy cow, that was a great deal. That is that's the bulb knot. This is more of a fan shaped knot. Used it recently. You can see it's got little kind of corners, a little flatter trajectory. The razor we're going to use today kind of looks like the 40s style Super Speed from Gillette. If you were to take a picture of this part, it might be difficult to identify it any differently, but the knob here is a great giveaway. The 40 style doesn't have this little indention here because of the knob. It looks a little bit more like that. But then when you tighten everything down, the 40 style doesn't look this way. Plus, the 40 style, I believe, might be hollow. Now this guy's got some plating loss right there. You see the plating's come away and the brass is underneath. I could strip this down of all the plating and have a beautiful brass razor. You can see this is really more of a user grade model. That's not really collector's grade, but I don't care because I'm about using them. That's me. I only have one or two and that I don't actually use, but I just keep around. And they are mainly just for inexpensive ones. Just in case. I used them once or twice, and then I like other ones a lot better, but they're good examples of a certain style, or if a viewer ever has questions, I can go back and revisit them, like my Edwin Jagger DE89. I think I'm going to keep that guy around for a nice long while because that's a good razor that is available to a lot of people. A lot of people have experience with it. It's just that I like most of my other razors better. Anyway, most of my collection is a very usable collection. Now, here's the other thing. If you look at it on the underside, see that flat base plate here? The 40 style Super Speed doesn't have that. And if you can get up close to it, it'll say, British patent right there, and then made in England right there. So it is easy to tell once you have your hand on it, or if somebody's taking good pictures. It's got a nice weight to it as well. It feels a little heavier than the 40 style. All right. Inside that, I just got a wild hair. Picked the Bolzano today. It doesn't have too many uses. Looks like it's been used about 10 times. And so a friend of mine, I believe, took a Bolzano to 100 shaves. And even though this started out not giving me great shaves, I have used it several times, and we'll see how it goes. Sometimes it's pretty good. Here's that flat base plate viewed from the top. It's usually a wonderful, wonderful shaver when they have that style head. So the Bolzano goes in the razor, and the soap we're going to use today, I got a while back, maybe a year ago, who knows. And this is Pere Lucien, a French soap. And all of this, I was looking for which scent this is, and it doesn't say on the label. It does say some words right here, and that would be Le Savon du Barbier, if my high school French is helping me out. Now, I looked this up online. I found one place that said that had the same label, and it said it was the natural soap, but this smelled like it had a bit of a scent to it. Then I found one called the traditional, and it had notes of eucalyptus, lavender, thyme, and rosemary. And that is what I get. Not strong, but light. That's what I get from this soap. And here's what it looks like. Let me give you a little bit longer of a look there. And this tub, I love these hard stainless steel containers. It's more expensive soap, but these containers are just awesome. I don't, if I ever decide to sell one of these soaps, I'd have to think about it, because do I want to just hook the soap out and sell it as a refill puck, and keep the cool containers, Anyway, let's look at the ingredients. They might be too small for you to be able to read with a video snapshot there. But potassium cocoate, potassium stearate, water, coconut oil, glycerin are some of the top ingredients. Sometimes a coconut oil soap can be a little bit less awesome in terms of lathering, but it was a very common ingredient for a good while. So let's just, and so that's why I'm using this today. When I first started to see, I first saw some LPL, Pere Lucien, the brand. I saw it on the used market very rarely. And so I saw one and I thought, oh, let's grab it, because I'd look it up and I read some really good things about it, how people loved it. And so I thought, well, this is rare. It doesn't come up very often, so I'll go ahead and buy it. I got one called Oud Santal, and I like oud and I like sandalwood. And so I went ahead and got that one. I'm glad I did. I'll probably keep that one around. We're going to try this one today and see if I'm going to keep it around. And I'm also revisiting the base, because it's been a very long time, maybe 2 years, maybe a year and a half since I've used this base. Let's see. Showed you the brush already. The blade's in, so let's splash some of this cold water. This is not a triple milled soap. It's not a milled soap. It is a crope. I can easily press in. It's kind of firm. It's not super soft, but it is not a hard soap. Okay, and I'm going to lather this guy for a minute, just because I think I remember having a little bit of a problem with the soap base, and let's just overkill and see what happens. I also purposefully got a brush that has some moderate backbone. Nice soft tips, but moderate backbone. All right, let's load on up. We're starting at 32, so it's easy to load for a minute, because we'll just end at 32. Bubbles pretty much right away. Big old bubbles and airy stuff like that, you see. But we can just let that go right down the drain. We want to get to kind of reach in through that, get a little deeper into the soap. It is a very dry, airy looking lather. 20 more seconds. Ten more seconds. Well, it is churning up and producing some lather, that is for sure. Bubbles and all that. 1 minute and 1 second as it turns out. So it's look at that. This is very different from a lot of the top tiers that are out right now. It's even very different from some of the mid-grade, like, awesome soaps, but just, Stirling. This is way bubblier than Stirling. You can see at closer to the puck, the bubbles got a little better. Let's just see how all this adds up. So I am going to take and sometimes play around with it. Sometimes just throw away the really light stuff, because it usually isn't going to help you out all that much anyway. But just for grins, I'm going to put this into the lather bowl. It'll have to be beaten a little bit. You look how airy it is there. Definitely a group of online shavers that kind of rebel against the coconut oil being used in soaps. So let's just see how accurate those claims might be. Now, here's the funny thing. I don't like 3 of the ingredients in this soap. I usually don't like eucalyptus, thyme, or rosemary. Now, what if the lavender is going to be a real peach and even out, level out all these other scents? Or maybe they'll just be weak enough to represent more of a spicy, an herby, soapy scent. You know, that could happen. All right, so let us start working this lather. We've got that tub cleaned up. Doesn't take too much, and you can see kind of how jaggedy it is and dry and firm. Not firm, it almost looks brittle is kind of the word. Like that sea foam, if you've ever been to the beach and had the sea foam get washed up, and it keeps its shape until you touch it, and then it just kind of breaks apart almost into dust or something. 1 teaspoon in. Let's just see what it does to this bubbly, airy lather. Now, Williams is a soap that has been around for a very long time, and even the modern iteration, the modern formula, which has less tallow, will give you a nice, slick lather if you mix it for long enough. That's one of the secrets. You got those bubbles come up at first, and you have to mix past that, and those bubbles will settle down. And if you have the patience, you will be rewarded. If you loaded enough soap. That's one of the tricks. Now, I understand. With Williams, it takes a good long while to get to that nice creamy lather. And oh, it's creamy. If you get a dry, dissipating lather from Williams, you haven't had the right Williams lather. That's another, and I've made videos. If you're interested in that, search Sugar Daddy Shaves. You know, look at my username, copy and paste it into the search box, and then space Williams, and maybe you'll see some of my videos. And yeah, we have beaten down some of the bubbles. It's starting to, it does look more like a shaving soap lather. It's still quite firm. Look at all these peaks. Take a notice every once in a while. Pull your brush out. Look at the surface of it. Look how firm it is. It's holding on pretty well. It's keeping its shape. It's light for its size. Those are some things to note. Probably means it needs more water. We've got 2 teaspoons in it already. Put another one in. These kind of lathers, sometimes they never get attractive, and at least from my perspective, they never get elastic and nice looking, and where they look like they're going to be well hydrated at the same time as keeping some of their viscosity. You know, there are definitely some soaps out there that just don't do that. And those are ones that I have to run a little drier than I might normally. Okay, we're kind of, another action is to kind of beat down the lather. Not in a hard way, but just pressing down and letting the brush expand slightly. But mainly pressing down, getting that lather to go into the brush so that you can really get a good mix. Yeah, we're starting to look pretty good. Plenty of lather we'll have today. Let's put in another, let's do another, so we got 4 total teaspoons now. Let's just see what it does to the lather. I have a lot of lather, so that's why I went ahead went with the full teaspoon instead of the half. Sometimes it's a gamble, but you know. And this, man, we've got a lot. It's not a strong scent, and so those notes in there, I'm definitely getting the lavender, a little bit of the eucalyptus, and then the spices are not acting up. They're not behaving badly. They're just being slightly spicy, and so who knows? This might end up to be one that I could possibly enjoy. Who knows? All right, let's just feel it with my fingers. Let's push it down a little bit, then get a feel for it. Oh, yeah, okay. Now that's pretty good. That's really, really nice, actually. That is a different base than I remember. It's keeping some of its viscosity. It's laying down a nice, luxurious feeling layer of slickness on my fingers. It's definitely, it almost seems like it could still use some more water, and I'll add a little bit more, but this feels really good. Nice, and it's going to feel even better on my face. My fingers are the toughest critic because there are plenty of soap bases that a lot of people like, but I will, you know, feel them in my fingers and it just won't be all that terrific. But on my face, feels just fine. Fingers are more picky, I guess. I went ahead and put in another teaspoon. This is a oh, now there's some elasticity. Look at that. Yep. Well, this soap is earning its money today. Now, it is a 200-gram container, and so in a way you can justify a little bit more of a price for the larger quantity instead of comparing it to 150-gram, the typical weight container, or even 100-gram. I've seen those as well. All right, man, we've got so much lather. I'm just drowning in it. Let's lift it up kind of like I usually do and see what kind of behavior. Ah, nice. And look at that. He's only balancing because I'm balancing him. If I tilt it slightly, he'll just collapse. He still may need some more water, but let's just try him out right now. Water on my face. It is cold and hard. This is the winter. It might even get near freezing tonight. All right, let's see what goes on. Sometimes you can put it on and then feel around with your fingers while it's on your face. It also gives it a chance to work into your skin so that it softens your hairs and also kind of connects with your skin to be able to protect it. Yeah, it feels really slick and nice. Yeah, that's a good soap base. You coconut oil haters out there, I'm sure you have reasons for your hatred, but this lather's nice. Now, you know, it's not, you know, Barrister and Man nice, and it may not even be Stirling nice, but it's different, and it feels very good. It may be kind of keeping its shape and not really being all that wettable, you know, but look at that. Look at that right there. Yes, the lavender, it would seem, is the stronger of the scents. Plenty of soap in my brush. Finish it up there with the painting strokes. I can afford to kind of let blobs go down the drain because I know I have so much left over in the bowl. Little badge of honor there. Okay, Aristocrat Junior. This is the model. Dang it, I think it's 51. I think this is the 51. Look in the description of the video, the title of the video as well, to be sure. See how it does with the Bolzano. Kind of tuggy. This is not a good friend to this razor. Quite tuggy. A little bit better on this side of my face. I think I have quite a variation between my left and right cheek areas. I often experience more tugginess on this side, and it gets nicer when I get over here. So in my neck, since this is feeling a little rough, I'm going to be sure to try to follow my with the grain pattern, and that'll be kinder and might help me not to get any nicks. Now sometimes I will have an experience like this, and also since it's kind of catching on my skin a little bit more than usual, not as smooth as usual, I'm going to do a little bit of extra security and light tugging to just make sure the skin doesn't get caught up into the blade by a wrinkle or something like that. All right, let's rinse. Now, sometimes when I have a rough pass like that, that was a reasonable amount of tugging. It was definitely tuggy. Sometimes when I have a pass like that, I will be rewarded at the end of the shave with a closeness that is surprisingly closer than what I usually get. And so that extra bit of roughness is actually just more blade feel, because the blade is really working and acting on my skin. Man, I've got so much lather. I think I remember working on this soap base before and just not having enough lather. Maybe it was a different type of brush that didn't have as good of a backbone or something like that. Fewer bristles. Those can be variables. Now let's see if no, still kind of rough, still kind of catchy. But I do feel it's cutting. It seems to be cutting pretty well, and I'm guessing it is getting smoother as I'm kind of going over the areas a couple of times. I am holding it very lightly. Matter of fact, see, the razor can pivot really easy around where I'm holding it, and that will help to have it float over the contours of my face. That was the second pass. And let's I'm able to smell it. It is translating more along the lines of a lavender with a just a light soapy kind of scent. A little bit of herby, but not overwhelming at all. I don't really have a problem with it. It feels like a traditional shave. In like some old style barber shop. Well guys, as I was rinsing on that second pass, it did not feel super close. Sometimes on that second pass rinse, with some setups, I feel smoothness that almost means I could walk away after the second pass. That's not the case here. So this may be rough feeling and not a close shave, which is the worst combination. Let's just hit that third pass anyway. It looks like this Bolzano is not a blade that works well with this Aristocrat head. Now one thing, you know what I'm going to do now, this is the third pass. This is all I'm going to do. How about let's add some water. I tell you, I've got enough lather in here for 5 more passes. So 8 or 9 passes of lather is what 5 teaspoons of water and 1 minute of loading will get you. And that's quite a bit. So let's hydrate this guy and just see how he acts. I mean, look at that. Isn't that nice? Pretty looking. Let's hydrate this lather. Even more here and see if it breaks down or if it gets better. It could be that I've just been shaving today with a lather that was too dry and my face really wanted it to be more slick. So far as I've been adding to the brush, I've put in half a teaspoon. Lather definitely doesn't seem to be getting too thin. Looks like it's working just fine with that. Well, let's keep going. Hold it this way so the drops that I add come back toward the tips, come back toward my face. If I were to add water and then keep it down like this, it would just come out the bottom of the handle. Yeah, this this lather could definitely have taken more water. I play around with different soaps. Some guys online that are doing den tours, and that's cool, but that's kind of what I've been doing for a long time. I just don't often repeat soaps unless I kind of feel a scientific experiment or a curiosity is at play. I'm just walking through the different soaps. I've managed to find some good deals here and there. Find some kind people who don't mind selling at a lower price if they can sell their stuff quicker. And then if I end up not liking those soaps and resell them, I always try to offer them at the same great deal that I was afforded, kind of pass it on. Yeah, see, this lather is liking the water. So I could definitely have pushed more in and maybe had a nicer shave on the first couple of passes. Yeah. So now I went ahead and was able to put a whole teaspoon in to this lather. And it looks like it might even be able to take more. It is starting to feel a little bit less creamy in the fingers. All right, now let us shave off this third pass. Yeah, see, now that feels better. Why? Because most of the hair is gone. There's nothing for it to tug on anymore. of course, just because one of my online buddies is able to take a Bolzano blade to 100, doesn't mean I will. Blades are very subjective. Well, looks like I'm going to walk away with a really nice shave. I'm very happy with what I see so far. And this is a good base. It's, it's not the greatest, but it's nice. It looks like it'll last a long time, a fairly compact soap. And so if you like the scent, if you find a scent that you really enjoy, go at it, because it may cost more, but if it lasts a lot longer, then that can help mitigate that cost and sometimes translate into something that's a lower cost option than a $20 or $22 tub that's only going to last you 3 months. All right, get a good rinse now. Yeah, in terms of reviewing the shave here in my trouble spot, that's always got a little bit of length on it. They've been cut nicely, and so I'm really happy with that. Face feels a little bit roughed up, so maybe today I won't go with an alcohol splash. Let's get a little something more nourishing and healing. Well, I used some of this the other day, Sharp Dressed Man from Stirling, and I feel like using it again. Now, I think I might like to purchase, or at least watch out for on the used market, some Balm by Stirling for their barbershop scent. I think that would go really well with this scent. And this LPL scent is called Traditional, and I can see why. It had a nice traditional feel to it, almost like a barbershop scent, and I kind of enjoyed it. I'll probably pass it on though, because there are just other ones that I might enjoy more. But I wouldn't have a problem shaving with, I've got to be picky. There are just so many great soaps out there. That's the thing. I wouldn't have a problem keeping this guy around at all. But I will use my Oud Santal before I sell this guy. Make sure I like the Oud Santal better, because this one could be a nice, I like to keep one of some of the major or the reputable or the historic manufacturers. I like to keep one sometimes, and I feel like LPL would be a good one to make that work. So the Stirling Balm does appear a little white on my skin, but in several minutes it'll be gone, absorbed, and it's probably not one of the best balms out there, but it's good, and it works fine for me. My skin is kind of oily anyway, but it does a really good job of healing, and the scent is nice. The balms are not like a cologne. They're not designed to have long-term projection of your scent. That's where the cologne, we call those EDPs or EDTs, that's where those come in, and they're designed differently. And the balm is to be healing with a slight bit of scent to it. Sometimes you can expect a balm to last an hour or two, to kind of be the scent for an hour or two sometimes. It depends on the notes. If it's a punchy one that's got a lot of pungent notes to it, then it can last longer. All right, well, just light irritation. I said my face was roughed up. That's kind of a little bit of an exaggeration for dramatic effect. My just a little bit of irritation, and it's almost gone as of now. So we'll clean up, and then I'm sure it'll be even better. So this lather turned out to be nice. Started out super airy, but we just kept working on it. Some pretty good elasticity there. You definitely still see some bubbliness. This is one of those lathers that has the kind of the micro bubble thing going on, but it is possible to get a nice viscous feel, not super viscous, because you don't want that anyway. You don't want a sludge on your hands, because then it can't protect your skin as well. I was very happy with the slickness on my skin, and I could have added some more water, so this lather was maybe just a hair too dry. The scent, Yeah, mainly lavender. And that's cool because that's the one that I was least concerned about. And the other ones just kind of stayed in the background, providing hints of accent. And I enjoyed it. If I was stuck on a desert island and this was the only soap I had, I would enjoy it. I would. It's a nice little razor. It does have the notched center bar there, which is the gimmick that they came out with a while back with those little packs of blades where you could kind of use it to pull the blade out without touching the blade with your hands. And then that went away after a while. And now we're stuck with the notched bars from these old razors. This is a wonderful piece. You can see the bevel near the slots right there is how close the razor comes and supports the edge of the blade even from the bottom. And so that's why even though the blade was a little too rough for me today, it didn't chatter. It didn't feel like it was scooting along, microscopically vibrating. That's what happens when you have sound. And so it still allowed me to continue. And in the end, I walked away with a good shave. And I have a feeling I can put another blade in there and it'll do much better. That Bolzano just happens to be a little tricky for me. This is one of the few brushes that I keep on hand here. I did go through a time where I was trying to use it a lot because it was with its backbone and with its density, it was a little too much backbone for me. So I thought with some uses, maybe we can get some of these hairs to open up, provide less density in the middle of the knot. And so therefore it would give me a better, a more comfortable shave with less backbone and shoviness on my face. And that's exactly what happened. I really like it a lot. I think the handle by CravingShaving is beautiful. And so it's one of the few that I've got here above me. Well, there we go. A good shave. The Bolzano was kind of the disappointment with its irritating nature in this razor. It's done better for me in other razors. So if there are blades that are rough for you and you have multiple razors, try them in all of your razors first. If you want to do that, you may keep it simple and seek out one or two blades that pretty much work across all of your razors. There are usually some that are like that. For me, Pole Silvers, Gillette Silver Blue, Nasset, and Astra Platinums are some of the blades that work like that for me. So many of my razors do just fine with any one of those four. And so if I wanted to buy 100 packs of those and just coast on those for the rest of my life, it would be an enjoyable shaving journey. I like to play around with all kinds of stuff though. All right, well, there we go. Yeah, that Sharp Dressed Man Balm is playing really nicely with the traditional scent of the LPL. Le Pere Lucien. That's a good soap. That's a good soap. If you like the scent, go for it. It's if you're kind of settling for the scent, it's probably better to sell it and buy another soap that you may be able to like better. Unless, of course, you're in Europe. Maybe it's a little harder to get some of the American croaks that can offer better performance. But Vito's, I like the Vito's products, the Super Crema and the cocoa and all that stuff. I enjoyed that lather probably a little better, and it has that nice almond scent. That's a European one that comes to mind. The Valabra stuff is really good, and it's got a better lather, better performing lather. Tobacco is better performing. DR Harris is a UK maker. Their hard soaps are tremendous. Wonderfully developed scents on those, as well as nice long lasting since they're hard pucks, and the performance is terrific. I need to use one of those in the next few weeks just to remind myself how awesome those are. So there you go. All right, now I hope there's been something here in this shave that has helped you out. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. You take care. Good night.